If you for a moment believe that Donald Trump's authoritarian tendencies were all fun and games, it has just become very, very real as Donald Trump is now publicly threatening to withhold money from Michigan if they decide to vote by mail, and also threatening the state of Nevada over vote by mail. So, in the last 3 to 4 weeks, as coronavirus has been raging, vote by mail logically has become a really big deal. When we think about we've got a presidential election, we have 35 Senate elections in November. When we think about people voting, when we think about voter disenfranchisement, we immediately talk about vote by mail, and that's been a growing conversation for the last month or so. Donald Trump doesn't want you to vote by mail because he knows that if more people vote, it's very, very bad for him. That's it. It's plain and simple. I mean, we can go into more about it, but that's the story. Trump knows more people voting is not good for him in November. He sees the polls and he knows he needs any voter suppression tactic he can get. He has couched it as vote by mail makes fraud easier. This is something we've debunked. 250 million ballots have been cast by mail in the last 20 years. On average, there are 7 or 8 individual issues of vote by mail fraud per year. That's not 7 or 8%. That's not 7 or 8 per state. That's 7 or 8 issues per year nationally with absentee ballots. It is statistically as close to zero as you can get. Well, Donald Trump is now becoming an authoritarian nightmare that we always feared he would be when it comes to this issue. Tweeting yesterday, quote, Michigan sends absentee ballot applications to 7.7 million people ahead of primaries and the general election. This was done illegally and without authorization by a rogue Secretary of State. I will ask to hold up funding to Michigan if they want to go down this voter fraud path. Now, there's a couple really important things to understand here. One is in the tweet, Trump says Michigan is doing something illegal by sending absentee ballot applications. Earlier in the day, Trump tweeted, Michigan's doing something illegal by sending people absentee ballots. Now, that's not what Michigan is doing. And the Michigan governor corrected him. Trump deleted the tweet, replaced it with an identical one that says it's illegal to send everybody an absentee ballot application. Why do we care about that detail? The reason we care about it is because of the rules that Michigan has. Now, I really want to be very clear about this. There would not be anything illegal in the way Trump is claiming about sending everybody an absentee ballot, but it would go against Michigan's established rules for absentee ballots. The rules are you need to request one. You can't just be sent an absentee ballot. So importantly, Michigan is sending everybody an application for an absentee ballot. They want to vote in person. Presumably, we as far as the plan is right now, they would still be able to do it. If they don't want to vote in person, they can submit their request for an absentee ballot and they would be sent one. There is nothing illegal about that. Now, Kayleigh McEnany, Trump's press secretary, was asked multiple times during yesterday's press briefing, Trump used the word illegal. What exactly is the law that's being broken? She said, go talk to the Trump campaign, which of course makes absolutely no sense at all. It's not just Michigan where Donald Trump is doing this. Trump also tweeting about Nevada, quote, state of Nevada thinks that they can send out illegal vote by mail ballots, creating a voter fraud scenario for the state and the U.S. They can't. If they do, I think I can hold up funds to the state. Sorry, but you must not cheat in elections. This is not cheating, okay? This is a ruse. And Donald Trump is creating a virulent, sick army of ignorant Trumpists who are just repeating these talking points without even understanding them. It's illegal to do this. Vote by mail is a fraud. I really need people to understand the primary crux of this story. We have states' rights in this country. Listen to me sounding like a conservative. Trump touts federalism. Federalism means states' rights. Federalism means anything that the federal government doesn't specifically have a duty to do, the power to do, it is by default the power of the states to decide for themselves. We don't have one federal election in the United States for president. We have a bunch of states, each runs their own election. That's the Constitution. That's federalism. There is nothing here that would allow the federal government to dictate how a state runs their election. Now, if you have truly a constitutional issue of disenfranchisement or something like that, you might see a case be appealed all the way to the Supreme Court. But this is Trump's wannabe dictator coming out. Michigan allows for absentee voting for any reason. Ever since 2018, that passed 66 with a 66% majority. It's in the state constitution. This is federalism. This is the law. Michigan is having major flood issues right now. Trump is essentially threatening people's lives by saying, I won't send you money if you do vote by mail. And that is, of course, a decision that Michigan is 100% allowed to make. Outside the United States, they are watching this in horror. I got an email from a viewer in Europe saying, David, isn't this fascism? Trump is attacking the sovereignty of a state voting system that is enshrined in federalism. They are allowed to make decisions about how they will vote. What is happening to the United States? I wish I could tell you. It is a tragedy. It is a nightmare. And I hate to say it, but once again, I don't know that Trump will be held accountable for these threats in any way other than if we vote him out in November. Real quick, I want to tell you about our sponsor, Magic Spoon, who have done something awesome. They've taken all of our favorite sugary childhood cereals that we know we shouldn't eat anymore and turned them into something you can actually feel good about eating as an adult. There's 4 flavors: cocoa, fruity, frosted, and blueberry. They taste great. They're crunchy. They're sweet like you would expect this type of cereal to be, but it's perfect for a ketogenic diet because one bowl has only 3 net carbs, 12 grams of protein. It's sugar-free, gluten-free, grain-free, soy-free. Once our team tried Magic Spoon for the first time, we actually ended up emailing Magic Spoon back and saying, can you send us more boxes? Send more samples. They've been a big hit with David Pakman Show staffers. And Magic Spoon knows how delicious their cereal is because if you don't like it, they'll refund all of your money, no questions asked. And you'll get free shipping when you go to magicspoon.com/Pakman and use the code Pakman. That's Pakman.